then she gives a thumbs up immediately after. I'm pretty mad. What the fuck? What the fuck is this crawling? Oh my god. Those legs are not rigged right.
Don't talk about my legs!
You're a goddamn spider monkey, dude.
Yeah, you're like a spider.
Don't talk about my legs. I'm very sensitive. Look at George over here. George is the last person that spoke about my legs.
Yep.
Look at him.
Yep. 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 Don't talk about his legs, you're gonna look like George. Oh shit! Oh crap! Ah! Ah, clip that! Okay, that's getting. Holy shit. Volunteer for Ouija board. You all go deal with Ghost, I'll go deal with Ouija board.
Oh no. Wait. Where are you going with it?
I'm going over here.
You don't want to be in the room where she's at?
I don't have to be, it's a Ouija board. Why would I have to be in the same room? I'm gonna break the Ouija board and make it hunt. We're looking for fingies? Do we just need fingies? I forgave you, Legion, you're good. Right, let's summon the ghost. Fuck you, ghost. Let's get away from here, though. I'm evil. Yes, my evil plan works. Don't ever let the demon get the Ouija board. Ah, my evil plans. Can we get in her hand? Hold on. It's hunting, it's hunting. Finally! It's fucking dead! Ah, so happy now! Ah, fuck you! Not you, Ghost. I think you, Ghost. I am free of his idiocy. Yes! Borb! Borb! We have freedom! He's dead! Rather than do stupid rigging!
Finally!
Yes!
Oh my God.
Okay, now I cannot be fucking terrified here.
Damn! I don't have a shield.
I can't even reinforce.
Nope.
Donkey!
No, don't! You son of a bitch! Of course you did! Just get off there. Just go. Just go. Ah, you fucked up. Ah. Just radium to have 39. Ah! What the hell? Okay.
Did you get a legendary?
No. The grenade apparently just blew somebody up.
Alright.
I did it. See, Jugger, you happy now? What the fuck? Jugger, I swear to God, Jugger, I swear to God, if you kill me with this. If you kill me with this, Jugger, I'm gonna murder you. You're going on the hook forever. new avatar. That's all we have for today. We have to adjust the screen a little bit, so we do have to adjust my background to accommodate it, and we also have to figure the screen outline. It's a chroma thing, it's just a slight adjustment. But yes, thank you all for showing. I'll see you all tomorrow at 7 AM. We'll be playing some Ghost Master, I believe it's called. Assuming that it works, it's a bit of an old game. It's kind of weird on modern things like 04 or something, so we do have to keep in mind that. But toodles, Malta. Alrighty. Well, we did Path of Pain, hardest part. Well, second hardest part. There's one thing harder that I've never done. Hold on. Yeah, chat. That's the closest you're ever going to see me with bunny ears. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyways, you get a wish. You get a wish, Ghosty. Get one wish. Get one wish if you just have to rub it. Rub the shiny. Rub the shiny.
No.
Yes.
No.
Rub the. Alrighty, we are here. I have to be a little somber and chill today because it is late, which is unfortunate on my end. We'll get things sorted. Now. Itchy. Give me one moment. Gotta fight the sleepy tireds. Okay, so today it's not really anything too special. What we are doing today is I'm doing some planning, and I figured to stream because if anybody pops in and wants to chit chat, we can chit chat. But otherwise, I'm mainly just doing some planning. As I posted on Twitter, I am going to be trying... Oh, let me move this over here. I'm going to try... Excuse me. And plan out practicing art again. Like, proper practice. Specifically for anatomy. I mainly need to get good at anatomy, and I need to get fast at anatomy is the main thing. So, that being the case, I will have to get to that. So, yeah, we'll get it through. So, let's go ahead and get started. All I'm really doing is just listing a bunch of parts, and I'll just ramble on and ramble. Okay, so let me think here. So my goal is to... Actually, is there a drawing tool on here? I don't think... I wouldn't think there is a drawing tool on here, so... Okay. Yum. Okay, so let's do... One thing I don't like about this... Now, there's probably a setting in here somewhere. There's probably some kind of thing here, but I don't really mess with it too much. So we'll have to do this manually. So I want this to be really big, like 36. We'll do 30 for this. Now I'm just gonna keep it all on one side. It's just a lot easier to manage. Well, let's do it with character. So we have with character, now we're gonna make this one 24. We have anatomy. Then we have clothing. Then we have, let me think here, style, I think would be its own thing. What else? Objects. I mean, objects is pretty broad here. but I'm just gonna put objects in, like what kind of objects I would want to study and such. Anything else? I mean, there's lighting, but that's kind of its own thing. I'll put lighting down, even though it's kind of its own thing. And perspective. Perspective is definitely a thing. And then we have expression. And we have poses. Now, poses, I'm not exactly sure how I want to organize this. I'm just being very broad here, and we can probably move things around. Okay. So, for anatomy, I'm going to put this into 2 different categories here. I might split it into more, but right now we're just... Well, actually, no, there are 3 categories, actually. Let me see, this is 24, so it's going to be down to 22. So we have humanoids. We have anthro, just think like furries, basically. Anthro. And then we have monsters / animals, so... Because monsters and animals are kind of the same thing, because they share a lot of similarities, so... There. Oops. Now, obviously, some of these are more priority than others. Hello, Ferryman. Welcome. I'm just doing art planning. Because, I'll type animal / ferryman. Ferryman, you're on my brain right now. I'm thinking about you. But how are we, Ferryman? Welcome, welcome. No, I'm just doing some planning today. And I get this... the plan I want to do is... what I want to do is get a... Oh, you have COVID. Hope you get better, dear. No, get you lots of rest and so on. Hopefully it's not the bad strain. Alright. I'll be yawning a lot. I'm usually asleep at this time, but... I was actually not going to stream tonight because to get back on my sleep schedule, but I decided, hey, I would like to plan out when I want to do art and such. And if I get this planned out, I can know exactly what I'm going to do. Because I would like by the end of this year, I can draw... Because I can draw anatomy, but not like... I can't do it from imagination. I need a reference. And, like, once I have a reference, I can play with it. I'm not stuck to that reference, but I can play with it. But I'm not that great with anatomy from imagination. I have a lot of poses I need to... I need a lot of practice, and I just haven't really been doing the practice. Casmo Killer tastes cheese sticks with marinara sauce. Ooh. Welcome to hell, Ferryman. Welcome to hell. Now, let's see here. We got clothing, style, object, lighting. So what we're going to do with anatomy is we're going to list body parts. Let's see here. So we have... Let's think. So how do we want to divide this up a bit more? With humanoids, we have... New clothes, though, so that's a plus. Well, there we go. Hope they're a little fancy clothes. Also, side note, I don't think we actually need anthro. Because, like, aside, like, the only thing I can think of you would need anthro for is, like, you know, like, what the fuck's it called? Like a dog's hind legs with the, like, the little bend in it. Like, what the fuck's that called? It's like digi something. I don't know what it is called, but... aside from maybe that, when it's a two-legged, you know, anthropomorphic creature, aside from that, though, like, everything here is just covered in animals and monsters. I don't actually think we need anthro, because humanoids covers it. And both, as my friend described it as both boy toy. I don't understand that whatsoever. Let's see here. Stop yawning. As a goth boy toy. Well then, no, maybe it means you're fancy or being cute. Being a little cutie. But let's see here. Alright, so we got humanoid and monster. I don't need to put anthro because they're kind of together. I'm trying to think how I want to organize this. So one thing I do know how I want to organize it is I want to organize it by body parts. I might actually just delete animal monster and just, yeah, we're just gonna delete it. We don't really need it because I'm worried about humanoids. I'm not worried about like animals and straight up monsters yet. Maybe in the future I might do animals and monsters, but right now I'm just worried about humanoids. Like, forever is gonna say, oh, so sad. All right, so let's start from the head down. Digigrade, thank you, Ferryman. Great, appreciate it. So, okay, so for this, let's start from the, because I'm just going to list body parts that I will have to practice. And that's probably what I'm going to be doing mainly this year, is just practicing different body parts like crazy. I'll determine exactly how much practice I need to do, but that's not here nor there. Oh, fuck. Ow. He booped the snoot. I got booped. I really need to turn off the like beating sound because it makes it sound off. But anyways, so we got humanoid. What's it take? Oh yeah, so we'll start from top down. Now, this isn't just human body parts, mind you. This, like myself, I have horns and stuff, but I'm humanoid. That kind of thing. We're being very universal here because to make a bunch of different characters and different designs. So we have horns would be a part of it. Oh, come here. Oh, actually, no. Ears. Let me do. Actually, no. Hold up. No, fate. Do head, and then move these over here. And these I want to bring down one. I'm trying to bring them down each time we go over. So we got ears, horns. Now we'll detail these later. Try to draw horror stuff. I've done a little bit. It's kind of weird. Like I have, despite me being like more like my themes and such, like I for some reason I tend to fall into like cute, goofy things, you know, and spicy artwork. You know, I don't know why. You know, but you know, also I don't mind making size artwork every now and then. But you know, let's see here. So we got horns, ears, eyes, hair. But I need a lot of practice. So, like, yes, I can get pieces that look decent. It's just I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I'm just not fast enough. I need to be faster. Like, I want to get to the point where, I'm not saying it has to be good, but like to the point where like right now with no reference, I can at least draw a decent body. Like, you know, there's a few flaws here and there, but I could draw a decent, like, cartoonish body, you know, and stuff like that. But I also want to study individual things. Because I don't practice as much as I should. Got nose, mouth, ears. Then we have, oh. Then we have facial hair. I seem scary online, but if you see my twink self in person, I'm complete opposite of scary. I mean, that's basically how I am, Ferryman. We're not that different. Let's see here. Well, it depends. Let's see. What else do we have? We got facial hair, nose, eyes, hair. There's the head itself, but I count this as the head itself. Like, basically, the idea would be once I get these, I'm comfortable enough with these. I'm not saying I have to be like a master at them or anything. Freckles? Well, I'm not doxing myself beyond that, Ferryman. But anyways, but let's see here. Oh, freckles. I mean, I'm not too worried about freckles, to be honest. I'm not really worried about that. Okay, so I think we're good there. All right, so now we have. Let me just delete all these. What? God damn it. Alright, so this would be torso. Now, of course, it doesn't mean I'm going to go super detailed with everything. I'm just listing body parts to kind of get an idea of what I'm aiming for. It doesn't mean I'm literally going to spend an entire month doing a neck. Right? You don't really need to spend an entire month making necks. But, you know. Actually, torso, neck. Got pecs. Johnny Bravo pecs. They got the booba. The booba. And then we have Well, actually, I do need to divide this a little more, actually. Hold on. So we have, I guess ribs. I'll just say ribs. It's upper torso, but I'm just going to say... no, we'll just do... But then again, what do I put the belly? Okay, I'll put ribs. We'll put ribs for the top, upper part of the body to categorize it. Let me put these over here. And then we put... Although it is kind of vague because things are going to blend into each other, but I don't think I really need to put the middle torso separately. So I'll just say lower, and that includes like the belly and lower. The belly and lower I count for this one, so... We also do have to do the back. Now, mind you, I'll be a very... Where was this? I might try to stream tonight, probably Minecraft or something. Well, hope it goes fun for you. I know I'm gonna be busy here, then I'm gonna go to sleep. This is how it's basically gonna go for me. The honk shoe? What? I'm confused. We got the shoulders. Now, collarbone is notable, because collarbone's actually really important for anatomy. The honk shoe sleep time? Yes, it is always sleep time for me. I'm going to put a note here, even though it's not like an individual thing to focus on. Collarbone is very important. Because collarbone dictates, like, it points towards the shoulder. I forget the exact details, but it helps with positioning breast and chest and such. As among other things. There's a lot of things you can do with collarbones, but from the front of the ribs, collarbone's pretty important. Neck, pecs, booba, back rib, shoulder, collarbone. I think we're okay there. Alright, then lower we got belly, pecs. Oh no, actually no, we have to change that. So lower we got butt. Tummy? Well, that's belly. That's what belly is. We got booty. Oh no, I need to do booty. What about tummy? It's the same thing as belly. Then, for this sake, we're going to pee-pee. And JJ. We know what they are. But, let's see. We know what they are. I don't think we need to do this. Actually, well, I don't want to say pelvis, because pelvis would be the lower parts. It's just like, I don't want to put the belly by itself, because it's literally just one thing. So I'm not really worried about that. Back, lower. Again, the back be its own thing. When I'm not really worried about that. Anything else I'm missing here? Oh, if you're going with like spicy art, you got to note the love handles, right? Or whatever the fuck you want to call them. It's like the slight bumps where your pelvis meets your side. And if somebody's fit, there'll be a little slight bump, or it could be fat, or it could be the bone itself popping right there. It's a very subtle detail. It's very small, but it's actually very important in bringing out like the lower body of people. If you're doing, you know, that kind of art. And it's about here. I mean, technically I could put hips, but I'm not, like, that's kind of goes hand in hand. So I'm not really going to. Like, I think like the legs are going to be a part of this. I'll put hips in because technically, like, it's not full legs. It's not full legs. It's like the very start of the legs because that is part of the, you know, bringing out the pelvis. So that will be there. Kind of like, it's kind of like shoulders for the upper part. Okay, so we have the torso. Where's the create new? Add node. No, not that. Well, I can move it over here, though. What size is this? 20? Oh. God damn it. Stop collapsing on your own. So when I click it, it just collapses it. It's very annoying. It's 18, 18. So these need to be higher. Or lower. 16. Oh. Okay, so then we have... This is 20... Wait, no. Yeah, it's 20. So now we have arms and legs. So we'll start with arms. Actually, what we'll do, we'll separate this limbs. This will be 20. This will be 18. Arms. Legs. Alright, so with legs we have knees, we have feet. Now, I'm not going to sit here and list like the individual parts of the feet. I kind of just consider the foot like as a whole, really. It's kind of like hands. You really can't do much of the hands without that. Thighs, yes, thighs. And shins. Now, granted, like a lot of this just goes together. I'm just listing them anyway, because we're going to be autistic about it. Let's see here. We got knees, feet, thighs, shins, ankle. I mean, well, I consider that part of the foot, so I'm not really going to list that. All right, then arms, we have elbows. Now, the reason why it is kind of important to designate shins and thighs is because the muscle groups are different to really bring them out, depending on what the perspective is. So there's a point. Upper arm. I'll say lower arms. Or I mean, you can say forearm, but I'm just going to say lower. Or I'll say forearm. Then hands, obviously, that's just... Hands are hands. We all know how infamous hands are. That's probably going to be... I'm going to make sure that I do, like, extra pages for the hands, because they're fucking hands. I don't think I need to explain the problem that hands give a lot of people. Me, I'm kind of like... It depends on the pose. Some hand poses I have no problem with. But then there's other hand poses where, like, my brain, for some reason, just does not wrap it. For some goddamn reason. Hands are so difficult they are. I had a really talented artist, because they give a lot of tips for stuff, and they say, if you want to learn like anatomy and all that stuff, just learn hands, because if you learn hands, you can learn anything else, right? You learn literally anything else with anatomy if you learn hands. So in theory, you could just focus on making hands and nothing else, and you would get good at all the other ones. I mean, you still have to study the other ones, but like you would have all the fundamentals you need to make like realistic everything else. Like because you have perspective, you got pose, you got expression, you got literally everything if you're good at hands. So, and shading would be a big thing because you have a lot of little parts that get shaded a lot. Anyways, elbows, upper arms, forearms, hands, shoulders are kind of already covered over here. Anything else? I think that is it. I think that's it there. I think we got all the stuff listed. I put wait, hold on, did I put in eyes? Okay, we got eyes. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. Now we need to separate this down further. I want to bring these up because these are a lot easier to separate. Poses. So I'm going to separate two different poses. We're going to do body poses and hand poses separately because they're just two different. I mean, you do combine them together eventually, but they are two different, completely different beasts. So let's see. We need that's 22. Oh. That's 22. Okay. God, stop fucking collapsing it. God damn. Oh no. Okay, no, that one's actually good to collapse. Ow. That's expression. Let's do poses. We'll bump that up to 22 real quick. All right. So poses. We have hands. And we have body, basically just the whole, right? But I'm keeping them separate, even though hands are a part of the body in that sense, because they're different specific things to focus on. So what we're gonna put here, let's start with hands, because hands are actually pretty straightforward in terms of like, yes, you can do a lot of things with hands, and there's a lot of different perspectives, but like you can name a lot of the, like you could just intuitively name a lot of positions of the hands, right? And we're talking like common gestures. So let's see here, because hands are going to be, as we mentioned, they're going to be a whole study on their own, so we may as well get very in-depth with it. We'll do the same here. All right, so hands. So we have, let's start naming. Middle finger is the first thing we're going to do. We have OK, the OK sign. We have point. We have thumbs up. Pinky extended. We have wave. Well, basically hand open is kind of what that is. Open hand. Heart hands. We are also considering combined gestures. Actually, matter of fact, we can actually separate that even more. Hold on, let's do that. We're gonna do that. Single. Like single hand gestures, you do it one hand. And we're gonna drop all these down. And we have double. Both hands. Things has to be done with both hands. Not too many of them, but it's just in case I need to note them. Let's see. We have bunny ear or peace sign, bunny ears, whatever you want to call it. Peace sign. What else? Both hands. We have timeout. Is a common gesture. Oh, hold up. Oh. We have shake hands. Too. I mean, sure, it's not the same person, but still. We have cup water. Is a common thing. Anything else that we really need? Yeah, shake hands. 3, like you're doing a gesture for 3. Right, that'd be up here, actually. And 4. Oh, fist. Fist would be... Let's see. Would be 1. Oh god, it's chilly in here. I might need to go get me a blanket or something. I think we're okay with hands. Now, body expressions. Well, let's look at what we gotta do. Alright, so we can separate these. Standing. Now we're not talking about expressions, we're just talking about poses. Standing, sitting, and lying. Like lying on the ground. Alright, so we have sleeping. Standing, we have the obvious ones. We have walking. Like a lot of the movement ones. Can I get over? Running. Sprinting. Sitting. I'll consider crawling as a, well, be our back. We'll see a little bit. I don't know. Would you consider crawling sitting, lying, or standing? We're at least crouching, right? Or at least crouching, and I would consider crouching sitting, so we'll put it in sitting. Because you're not lying on the ground, so. Crawling. Just sitting. We could do arm wrestle. Lying down be like bathing. You know, either sunbathing or whatever. Maybe sleeping. Relaxing. Lying. Then we have relaxing sitting. Now, yes, I know we can go on forever with poses. I'm just trying to get, like, a bunch of important ones. Swing weapon. Punching. Jump for joy. Vertical jump. Long jump. What else do we have for standing? Like anything like really notable. Let's put school desk or computer at computer. Alright, well, we'll come back to this later. I'm not too crazy about all this. Oh, wait. I got one. Hold up. Dead. You're lying down dead. Alright, we're not gonna worry too much about poses, though. I'm not too crazy about worrying about all of this right now. Except for hands, though. Hand poses, I say, are more important, at least initially. Alright, so let's see here. Oh, I forgot something. There's a few things we need to do. We have tail. And then up on ribs, we have wings. Honestly, I don't even think we need to separate humanoid. Well, yeah, I don't think we really need to separate humanoids and animals here. I think we could kind of just lump them together. It's just individual animals would have to be changed. Expressions. So we have neutral. Sad, happy. I hate that keeps fucking collapsing. That's so annoying. I don't even hit the button and it does that. I hate that so much. Angry. Neutral, sad, happy, angry, scared. Smile, like a mild smile, not like really big ones. Smug. What else? Surprised. Let's see, what else we got? We got... Tired. Okay, I'm getting fucking tired, goddamn. I still got a lot of planning to do, I can't be tired right now. I returned, welcome back, welcome back. Let's see, tired. Neutral, sad, happy, angry, scared, smile, smug, surprised, tired. What else I can think of? I'm pretty sure there's more, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Perspective. Okay, this one's big, because I like doing size art every now and then. Just normal perspective, nothing crazy there. We have low angle. Then we have worm's eye. Basically just like super low, like, you know, like a worm would see kind of perspective. Like being super low to the ground. Then we have side views, obviously. Really, it's that big sheet you have with all the squares and different perspectives. It'd just be that, but I'm just going to list the ones I give a shit about. Aerial, like Google Maps or something. Diagonal. Alright, so I think we're good there. Okay, so now I'm going to focus primarily on this, and I'm not even going to bother expanding on the rest of these, because these won't be till later that I'm really going to be worried about them. So the question is, where should I start here? I think I should start with the head, because I think getting the head right is probably the most important, followed by the relation, not even like all the individual pieces, but like the relation between the rib, the proportions between the rib and the pelvis, I think is the next most important, but Otherwise, the head is most important. What we're gonna do... So each of these books that I buy have about 100 pages. How many pages do I have left in this book? Figure out how much of a sketchbook I'm gonna be out. Your Doritos taste like sands. Why does it taste like sand? What'd you do to them? Did you fuck your Dorito? Why'd you fuck your Doritos? What do you do to your Doritos, man? COVID? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Well, that's unfortunate. Let's see, I actually did an okay amount of drawing here. I go back to this one, it actually ain't too bad. Okay, how many pages? Did some doodles here. It's kind of weird. Look at my anatomy work, right? I'm looking at old, like my references are like real world, like ladies, not like characters or anything like that. The annoying thing about them, I'm looking through some of my old sketches, is like my bodies are not that bad. Like, you know, so little minor changes here and there, and they're fine, the bodies. But like my heads, I am terrible at heads. I am fucking horrible at heads. Okay. So how many pages do I have to count, so bear with me here for a second. And it's like less than 100 pages. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This might be a minute. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Make sure I'm trying to make sure I don't skip a number. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. Goddamn. Okay. 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126, 127, 128, 129, 130, 31. I lost count somewhere, but either way, we're still close. 132, 133. That should be on evens. 134, 135, 136, 137, 138, 139, 140, 141, 142, 143, 144, 145, 146, 147, 148, 149, 150. I'll just say 150 because it seems like we have like almost exactly at 150. Okay, so actually I just closed the book. I don't have to actually go all the way back. So I have about 150 pages in this scrapbook left before I have to buy a new one, which is a lot of pages. So the question is, how much of this should I draw? Because I have a bit of thing to me. I'm a bit impatient. I want to get shit learning. I want to learn as quick as possible so I can get shit done, because I hate learning for a very long period of time and having very little to show for it. Which, I mean, yeah, I have learned art better in the last few years, like significantly better. You know, people do like my works, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And like, I'm not saying I have to be like a really crazy good artist or anything, right? Like, I just want to be good enough to where I make spicy art and I like the spicy art, you know? and I could do it within a reasonable amount of time, you know? Like, here's a weird thing. So I have my art. Some is pretty good anatomically for the most part. Like I said, I look through my doodles over there, and like the body is usually fine, but it's the head that's usually off. But I'll get that sort of later. Well, the thing is that I have a thing where if I just do straight up doodles with no reference whatsoever. Now, I know drawing from imagination is very difficult. That makes sense. But, like, I would like to get to a point where I have a pretty solid idea without reference to keep it anatomically accurate. Like, yes, I have ideas, but, like, if I just randomly doodle off the... Let me put it this way. So, my modeler, Sid Say, and Anne and Kyle of Octoglitchy, a lot of them, they're way more experienced with art than I am, obviously. And, hey, Visaga, let's just have a doodle session. We'll just doodle. We don't, you know, just have fun doodling. Okay, I'll join you. I'm sitting there, like, no fucking clue what I even want to draw, and they're just sitting there, like, doodling all sorts of things that actually look decent, and they're like, oh, this is just doodles. I'm like, if that's your fucking doodle, Jesus Christ, what's your actually fully made work? Like, people who can, like, you ever see, like this really professional artists, right? You get these really professional artists in, like, YouTube videos and such, showing, like, their process and shit. It's like, oh, I just do a sketch, and their sketch is, like, extremely accurate. It's not exactly like this, but it almost reminds me of that SpongeBob meme, where, in the episode where SpongeBob draws a perfect circle, and Squidward's like, how the fuck did you draw a perfect... Do it again. And he draws, like, a perfect, realistic head. See, I just do this, and I erase a little bit of this, and he just erases the head a little bit, and then I erase these details, and bam, I have a perfect circle. It's like, what? Huh? What? It's like that. It feels like that to me sometimes, when I see, like, actual professionals do art. Especially because my mannequins, I need to get consistent with mannequins. Like, one of my best pieces, I might show it on stream. Hold on. Let me, if I could find it. I need to find the original piece. It shouldn't be too hard to find, though. It was a commission, so it should be pretty easy for me to find. Alright, it's down here. No, not that one. Not that one. There we go. Wait for this to load. Alright, so this here, I don't know if we can actually see it. Yeah, I don't know if we can actually see it, but, no, you can't. Yeah, I already erased it. There's no measurements on this one, but when I did this one, for the most part, yes, I had a reference, but it was only a character reference, though. It wasn't like a pose reference or anything, because I needed to know, like, what the character had and all that. He made this based on, like, a Digimon, but for the most part, this is pretty accurate, and it's because I actually did a proper mannequining, like the feet and such, like a little slight modifications here, but besides that, though, it's fine. But I did lots of mannequinning, right? Actual, like, proper shapes and getting them out, which I can always do, but for some reason my brain just derps out if I do things from imagination, and it just doesn't want to do that properly because I can't see it. I need it because, like, I'll sit here, like, if I try something right now, right? Let me try. Let me just doodle. We're just gonna do a quick, easy doodle. Mind you, I am using mouse and keyboard, so do keep that in mind. But, you know, little head here. I don't know. I'm being a bit random here, but, you know, got a little face there. Pop, 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 pop. And actually, this is actually a little too low, but whatever. It's kind of looking down, I guess. But, and then from here, and this is where I had a problem with the head, is getting the head connected to the torso properly, because I don't quite... Yes, I know the head proportions. I hate proportions. I don't like them because it's not that they're inaccurate, it's just that they're not realistic and they're not entirely reliable. Especially if you start doing, like, really crazy poses and perspectives, the head measurement doesn't do jack shit. That's why I don't like it. But, like, you know, say their shoulders here. I just drank water and it was the best thing ever. Hey, you can taste water now, though, at least. That's good. I'm just gonna do doodles here. We're just gonna do little doodles. I'm just do a quick random-ass doodle of some random-ass guy, right? We're not really trying. Whoop. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Quick doodle. And see, right here, if I just... No, right, I mean, this is just doodling, but... Oh, let's do, like... And then behind you, it's hands. Hands are always butt. Mouse keyboard doesn't help either. I'm just doing little doodles, but let's just go on. As you see, like, now I'm doing this and this. I know it's a doodle, but there's like really experienced. Okay, that's a bad arm, but there's really experienced artists where it's like, oh, I'm gonna doodle, and it's just like it's a fucking SpongeBob meme where it's like, oh my god, if I could do your doodles, I would be happy. If I could just do how your doodles are, let alone your full works, right? So yeah, and I'm not saying I have to be exactly at that, like, their level or anything. I'm just saying, like, I have a lot of room for improvement. I get so many people and they're like, oh my god, Vasago, I love your art. What are you talking about? Yeah, but I take fucking forever to do it, and I get bored of it, and then I don't do as much art as I'd like to do. Like, do you know how much... Okay, put it this way. Do you know... I have barely made any art of myself, right? Which is weird. I want to do art, but I barely done art of Vasago myself. I've done, like, a few pieces at that, right? And then most of them are, like, stupidly simple. Not counting, like, my old PNGs, because those are... I need to do those for streaming. If I got a lot faster at art, and, you know, it was decent for the speed that I was going, using what references I need, I would have made so much more fucking art by now. I'd be so much more productive, because it's really my bottleneck. Like, that is my hard bottleneck for making content, is both in stream, because like when I do streaming here, like my assets here on streaming are unfinished. Like, I had my previous model, my 1.0 model, almost all my assets are finished. Like, there's like a few things, but they weren't really that important. I did all my alerts, I got all my overlay set up like properly. This one doesn't have like a BRB, a proper BRB overlay and shit. Like, my other model had everything set up. But my problem is that oh, hold on, what the hell? That was weird. But the problem is I'm just not productive. That's the thing. I'm not skilled enough to actually be very productive with art, and I wish I was, because it would save me so much time, and I would enjoy art so much more if I was. And the answer is practice. But the thing is, practice is fucking boring, because you feel like you're not using it for anything, you know what I mean? But I have to. I have no choice. So, you know. So anyway, so I have 150 pages. I'm trying to think, how many pages would I really have to fill? It's like, am I just filling one sketch? Well, okay, how about this? Let's count out each of these parts, and we'll subtract any ones that aren't really necessary to look at, like neck. I mean, yes, you want to look at the neck, but it's not like a piece in and of itself that you like sketch out all the time. Like, you'll sketch it out in relation to like the torso, but you're not gonna, in the head, but you're not gonna sketch a neck by itself usually, with some exceptions. So let's count this up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're counting the head itself, because once we're done with this, we're doing head studies on their own. So keep that in mind. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're counting these 1, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Well, we can't. 25, 26, 27. These are not together, so 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. It's about 36 there. Let's see what we can subtract from it, things that aren't really necessary to look at. So 35. Back. We'll do the back as like a whole, because it's almost like one piece due to the spine. So we'll say 34. Collarbone's kind of part of the... So we'll say 33, because that kind of goes with other pieces. You don't usually just do just collarbone. You might study the collarbone by doing a torso and mess around, but the collarbone itself, it's kind of universal. So we're about 33. I think that's about... Love handles and hips kind of go together, arguably, so I'll say 34. All right, now while these do go together, because of muscle group, it's very subtle. Because of muscle groups, though, I am going to have these separate. Same with the thighs and the shins. We are going to have those separate. So, so about 30, so we're at 32, right? So if I was to, let's say I got all these in one sketchbook, probably not going to happen, but let's say I did. We have 150 divided by 32. So roughly about 4 pages. Anything I got to study, about 4 pages. Okay. Well, it's 4.5, but we'll just say 4 pages. So, saying 4 pages, I would also like to divide that among the things that are more important. Like, hands, 8 pages. Not 4, 8 fucking pages, because it's hands. You know, head probably also I'd say is just as important. Probably multiple pages for the head. And so on. Then we have the whole. Actually, no, it's 33 actually, because you have to consider the body as a whole as well. Because once you get all these sorted, then you have to do the body as a whole. So let's think here. So, okay, so if we did, let's say we did this like this, right? And let's say I did, because a page a day is very slow, right? But if I only study a body part once a day. Or no, sorry. If I only study a body part once a day, that's also going too fast, right? Like I study hands for 1 day, then I move on, despite the fact I only have like 1 hour, right? Well, okay. Well, let's think here. So, I'll just say it's 4.5, even though I'm just gonna assume it's 4. But we'll say 4.5. So. The fuck? Hold on a minute. Okay, so if I did it an entire section once a day, I would be finishing everything in 3 months, right? I gotta think of what kind of time frame. Again, like, I'm not expecting to be crazy good after planning this time frame, mind you. You're always practicing art, and I still have a lot to learn. But because what I'm doing here is I'm trying to study which things. Okay. So I think here's what we're doing with the study plan. We first have to ask, what parts am I good at and what parts am I not that good at, right? Hair. Oh, how about this? I'm gonna put a little extension here, and I'm gonna put stars based on how much experience and how good I think I am at that piece, right? 5 stars being the hardest, and 1 star being easy peasy, I can do it in my sleep, right? Ears. I do not do ears at all. Granted, however, a lot of the time I don't have to do ears, because I do pixel art, but we are thinking of traditional art here. We're not considering this in just pixel art. I don't really do traditional art that much, but it is my preference behind pixel art. I don't care for... I like the art of it, but I don't care for drawn, like, tablet digital art, right? I care for the art. I just don't care to do it myself, largely because I really don't want to learn a new program. If I have to, I will, but I don't want to have to learn a new program because I already know Sprite in and out, almost in and out. Anyways, ears. Very little experience, but I will say a lot of the time I don't. With the styles that I do, because I don't really do, even in normal traditional art, I don't really do a realistic style mostly. Except for, you know, anatomy. You gotta have your pretty ladies, you know? You gotta have pretty ladies. But ears, if it's a cartoonish style, they're not a problem at all. But if it's a realistic style, then yes, I will have to study them a little bit. So I'd say, like, I'll say 3, because I don't have as much experience with ears, right? I'll say a 3. We'll put it at a 3, because I don't have just because 1 star is because if it's realistic, I would have to study in general, and 3 stars because I don't really draw them much at all, so it'll be a 3 star. Horns, at first they were a little weird, but horns actually aren't too bad, actually. Like, worst case scenario, I need like a refresher. I mean, look at me. I have horns. I better know how to do fucking horns. I'll say 2, because there are some styles of horns I need to study, like deer horns. You know, all the branches and shit. I did studies of them previously, but I will do them again. But horns, I'm not too worried about horns. Horns are actually kind of they look kind of weird, but they're actually once you get the hang of them, they're actually pretty simple. The only thing that gets weird with horns is, like, if you look at my horns, how they curve back a little bit. They are a little weird with, like, movement in 3D space, right? Because of how they bend and curve and stuff, it gets a little annoying. So, you know, we'll get that sorted some other time, though. But I'll say about a 2. Worst case scenario 3, but no higher than 3. But I'll put it 2. Eyes. I don't really... Let me look at my... Oh, I don't really think I have a problem with eyes. Like, at least a 2, though, because eyes... There's so much you could do with eyes. So I'll say minimum 2. You know what I... Oh my god, you know what I wish I had? I wish I had a tier list. I wish I could get a little tier list thing. Hold on, I'm curious. Hold on. Body parts tier list. Let me see something. Ew, no, not that one. Create body parts tier. No. I need like a really detailed part though. No, all I'm seeing is like a traction tier list. I'm not seeing just plain body parts. If somebody ever made like a body part tier list, like hit me up. I would like that for this thing I'm working on. But anyways, I mean I could make it myself, but I have to gather all the images and stuff. It'd take too long, especially in the middle of the stream. Eyes. I will put minimum 2. Minimum. At most, I will put a 4. Like, they're no lower than 1. Or, sorry, they're not lower than 2. They're definitely not a 1. Because there's so much... It's mainly because there's so much you can do with eyes. And, you know, expression is really big with eyes. You know, eyes are the windows to the soul, as they say. And there's just... The thing with eyes, though, there's just so many styles you can do with eyes, and there's so many ways you can do them in both regular and pixel art. There's so many ways, like, there's so many shapes you can use with them. You can do, like, triangular shapes, circular shapes, sometimes square shapes, depending on your thing. With the ladies, I like, you know, you can do so many different kind of eyelashes with the ladies and such. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna put it 3. Because, like, I don't have a hard time with eyes, it's just there's so many kinds of ways you can do it. And I think with eyes, I need to study styles more than anything else. I do need to study realistic eyes as well. I do need to study realistic eyes, though. So, I'll put it at 3, but you could say it 2. Hair, oh my, I fucking suck with hair. Just straight up, I suck with hair. Some people disagree. I'll say a 4. Because I do have some hair that I actually do like how it came out, but 4. Like, no lower than a 4. Noses, So, again, this is a situation... Wait, hold on, I need to add something here. Hold on, I need to add something. This reminds me. God damn it, come here. No, what the... What? Okay, anyways. Snoot. That's gonna be a separate... I know they're both noses, but they're gonna be separate, because this is specifically for anthropomorphic characters, whereas nose is for, like, just humans and shit, right? So these are gonna be separate. We're considering this separately. If I say snoot, I am considering the, well, should I count the mouth in snoot? It's like, if you look at me, you know, you got the nose and mouth, right? I'll say the snoot is as a whole. Let's say snoot's as a whole, right? We'll say it's like the whole is mouth and nose, but this is just normal human-ass nose. I'll even include animal noses in here, because if you can do it, while they are different, if you can do a human nose, you can definitely do an animal nose. Animal noses are... Honestly, I'd say animal noses are simpler than humans usually, unless like special case, right? Like some weird animal that has some weird nose. I'd say noses are pretty simple. If you could do a human, you could do most, if not all animals for their noses. Like, some animals don't even really, like, have a hard nose to really have to draw. You know, there's a lot of animals that literally it's just holes in their face, right? Whereas humans, you know, you got this little thing protruding from your face. Another thing is with my styles, you don't have to detail the nose. Honestly, I think what's more important is the bridge. Not that you show the bridge necessarily, but because, you know, like if I look to the side, it's hard to tell in this model. If I had a human model, it'd be a little better. But as a human model, if I turn to the side like this and my nose overlaps my eyeball, there's a proportion there that you kind of got to get right. I'll say a 2. Like, there is some study I have to do. Like, I don't really do people with big noses, right? Like, there is some study. I'll put a 2. 1 is like I'm completely good. I don't need to do any studies whatsoever. So it's going to be at least a 2, I would say. I still have to do a little bit of studying on it, but we're good. Snoot. I'll put a 3 for that one. So snoots, like I have, they're either really easy or really fucking annoying, depending on the perspective. So I'm going to leave it at a 3. They're either easier than human, because the one benefit of snoots, depending on your style, it depends on your style, is that, now, for me, it's not the case. Mine's a little more complex, but with snoots, like, okay, put it this way. So let me pull up a sprite real quick so I can show something. All right, so, so if I'm doing a head, say this is a perfect circle. I know it's not, but say I'm doing a head and I got my little thing here, right? And I got my eyes. If it's normal human, roughly you're doing like around here of the eyes, and then you gotta do the chin like this. The chin can be pretty, the jaw can be pretty annoying, personally, depending on their perspective. But with some, not all, but some snoots, assuming they're looking head on at you, you don't have to do that. You do it like this. Get your eyes here, and your snoots just bam, 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 bam. There you go. You have a snoot. It's easier than a human. And if you want to see how this is, yes, there is technically still a jaw here. But if they're looking straight at you, now for me it's not the case. I still have a little bit of a jaw below me, but for a lot of stylized work, like really cartoony work, you can just do this and you're good to go. But it gets more complicated when you start moving around, because like like a human face. So if a human face turns, it's actually the jaw's easier, because it's just I have like a circle for my skull, roughly speaking. Depends on your style. But I have a circle for my skull, and if I turn, pretend I have a human face. If I turn, it just follows that sphere of the skull with the jaw. You still have to play with the jaw and cheeks a little bit, but it follows it. Whereas if I have a snoot, my nose is extended in front of my face, so there's a lot more 3D to it that you have to pay attention to, right? As you can see when I turn my head, there's a lot more 3D to it that you have to do, which makes snoots a little difficult when you have to do perspectives. Anyways, so yeah, snoots are definitely gonna put a 3, maybe even a 4, because again, it's not just the nose, you have the mouth as well. You know, I can open my mouth. So if you look at my mouth, stylistically, now the little black that you see on my right, not yours, my right, your left, inside my mouth when I open, that should not be black. You should be able to see through it. But stylistically, some people don't bother with that, right? So, again, there's a lot of stylistic things. Well, Sensei does that technically because she can't, because if she made that transparent, then that's a lot more work on VTube Studio, but artistically, sometimes people still ignore that regardless. So, you know. But yeah, we're definitely putting at least a 3. It could be a 4. It could be a 4 depending on what I'm doing. So I'm going to put it at 3 and stay in the middle. Mouths. Now we're not counting snoots, because that kind of goes with itself. Mouths are either... Honestly, mouths can basically determined by whether you get the jaw right or not. If you get the jaw correct, you basically have a mouth. But you're good. Like, mouths are easy as hell. If you have the jaw line correct. Jaw, cheeks, and whatever. Like, even with teeth, I consider mouths fairly simple. It's only when you have, like, really realistic detailed work with, like, lips and stuff where it gets a little complicated. There is some studying I need to do, though, in pixel art specifically. There's some stylistic studies I need to do, but not too bad. I'll put a 2 on this one. We already did ears. Don't know why I have that doubled. Facial hair. I suck with hair in general, so I'm just gonna throw a fucking... Well... Okay, I'd say facial hair is a lot easier than actual hair, though, because there's not as much to, like, really... Like, in normal hair, you kind of have to piece it out and make it drop and flow. Facial hair, usually not so much, unless somebody has, like, an insanely long beard. It kind of just curves into itself. It's pretty basic for the most part. I'll put a 2 because I haven't studied it, but I don't expect facial hair to be that difficult. Like, facial hair will probably just come down to, did you do the jawline correctly? And is your, like, lips, like, the nose to your lips ratio proper? And I don't expect that to give me problems. Now, the head itself. I have lots of problems with the head itself. It's mainly, I'm putting a 5 on this one. Granted, to be fair, it is the combination of all these together. But the reason why I put 5 is I struggle more with heads. If we're talking like straight from like, okay, if you ask me to take it seriously, like straight from imagination, and my life depended on it to draw a anatomical figure, I would probably usually be more accurate with the body than I would with the head. And trust me, I have problems with the body if I draw straight from imagination. But I'll probably be more accurate with the body than I will the head. Largely because, and this is my biggest weakness with the head. I want to put a note here. Let me see. It's 30. Put here 24. All right. So this is gonna be a list of things I know for a fact I need to study. Let's do 18. All right. So we need to study head from perspectives, like that little, if you all know the little thing where it's like cubes of the head, like straight on, down one, down all the way, and it's like half of the way turned, and then all the way turned. Well, you don't see it, my model doesn't show it properly, but you're a little bit up this way, then all the way up that way, that kind of thing. That's what I have to do. I need to do that. We need head from perspectives. But that's going to be my biggest weakness. Now, as I said, I think overall, like, yes, there's individual pieces I need to study a lot and aren't as great, but overall, I do tend to do the torso and stuff a lot better. The upper torso, I'd say, is a lot easier, at least initially, a lot easier than the lower torso, or the pelvis. Because the reason why is because, so I can show the, wait, I'm still showing a sprite for you all. What am I doing? Give me one. Okay. Sorry, everybody, but we are switching back to a sprite real quick so I can show you. So the reason why the pelvis is a lot more complicated is because your pelvis is actually, so you're, okay, let's take your rib cage, for example. Here's your rib cage, roughly speaking. Right? Gam Gam, hi Gam Gam. We're talking about art, and I'm planning my, I think you saw the Twitter. I'm not sure if you did. It's a Twitter post I made about art. I'm going to start doing a thing where I start filling up sketchbooks with practice art because I want to get better. Because I'm nowhere near the skill level I want to be. But yes, I shall. Praise the Lord, Dark Rose, Gam Gam, and also that is a self-care. Hope you're doing well, Gam Gam. I hope you're doing well. Oh, I had a damn good pop there. Holy shit. But I'm talking about, like, I was just talking about why, at least personally, I find the pelvis a lot more difficult than the rib lower. I find lower torso, maybe not the legs themselves. Legs themselves I actually find easier than the arms, but usually. But I personally find the pelvis harder than the ribcage area, personally. And the reason why I suspect it is because the pelvis is hidden inside your body a lot. So, especially when you consider the joints that connect your legs. Because if you consider this, I mean, this isn't really, I'm not very good at doing a pelvis, like actual anatomical skeleton pelvis, so we're just going to kind of imagine here. So if you look at your arms, like for shoulder, I used to be like, here's a circle, stretches out, there we go, we got arms, right? But there's a lot of reasons why pelvis is a problem. So the only parts of your pelvis that kind of touch like the... So if you touch your body, you can feel your ribs. They're right there. I mean, well, unless you're a lady, you got you got booba in the way. But touch like the side of your ribs, right? You got the side of your ribs, even your back, right? You can mostly feel your ribs. They're right there. They're right on the surface of your skin. The pelvis, you can only feel like your left's like your side. You can feel like the edge of the pelvis, like right here, right? And you can maybe argue you feel the back, like right above your butt, right? Your little butt crack. But the front is a problem because there's no bone there. There's not actually any bone there, for the most part. There's a little bit you can get at the bottom, if you're being weird, but there's no bone there. And the joints that connect your legs are inside your body, as compared to this. Well, I mean, they're all inside your body, but you get my point is, your shoulders are right there. Like you can literally, like, almost touch that part that connects your arm, your bones to your torso. Whereas the pelvis, you can't really do that. It's pretty deep into your body, and that's what can make legs, like the connections of legs in relation to the body, difficult. Not the proportions. I personally find leg proportions a lot easier than arms. Arms are simple. Arms are just the length of your rib cage twice. So if I measure this, say this is a realistic rib cage. If I measure roughly, it doesn't have to be exact, but roughly this amount of the rib cage, both your forearm and upper arm are going to be the same length, roughly speaking. So if we're talking like from the bone connection all the way down to the elbow. So it is straightforward. The reason why arms are more difficult isn't because of proportions, because again, if you get the upper arm correct, then you're going to have the lower arm correct in length, except your arms have way more movement than your legs do. I mean, yes, you can twist your legs technically, and they have very similar rotation, not exact, but similar rotation. But the big catch is that you don't really rotate your legs that much in comparison to your arms, aside from, so your arms have like different perspectives and shit depending on how they are placed. Let me do this real quick. So no, I don't have a tablet out. I'm using mouse and keyboard, but we'll do like cylinders or something. So say this is your leg, right? We're gonna be very rough with it. I'm not gonna be exact. But this is your leg. Actually, let's do squares. Squares will actually be easier to show 3D. I like squares better for 3D than round objects, because round objects have the problem of you don't actually round objects. You don't really see the the rotation, the 3D rotation, until you do like this shit here, where you start doing the 3D not contours. I'm not sure what we would call it, but little meshes to it. Whereas squares, you don't need the meshes. You immediately see. Squares or rectangles, you immediately see where the 3D space is, right? Compared to cylinders, because you have that extra dimension right there. But anyways, how do I put this? So I don't feel like drawing a lot. Okay, I'm not going to say control it, but my point is, with your legs, yes, your legs do have flexibility in how you can move them. Not as much as the arm, but they're pretty similar in flexibility, almost. However, a lot of poses, except maybe where your knees are, where the lower leg is, a lot of poses, your leg is lined up. Or you have a situation where there's not too much variety in position and perspective with the legs. Whereas with arm, regardless of whether you're doing a low angle or head on or whatever, with arms, I could have an arm coming here and towards you. Okay, you get perspective. Like, we're just going to use lines to kind of represent, just imagine this in 3D. And say you're looking at an art piece or something, right? You can have due to perspective. Now, yes, you can have this with the legs too, but it's just less common. You can have with perspective, where there's an arm like that, even though your torso is like this, Well, let's just say like torso like that, because this arm is pointing straight towards the viewer, and it can throw. And me personally, it throws me off, maybe other people off as well. But then you could also have like an arm it's like straight to their side or something, and it's like, say this is an accurate ribcage size, like that, down, right? All right, let me close out this. Don't save. Let's see, where was I? Close that. For some reason, the thing doesn't disappear when I close it. Alright, so we're going back to the stars here of difficulty. Because what I'm doing here, for anybody just tuning in, I am sorting out me personally, the difficulty between these parts, so I can determine like how much time I'm going to spend on them. Right. So I also need to determine what my... Let me see here. Okay, so what is the condition? We're going to ignore time right now. We'll get back to determining that, but... So... Okay, so here's where I need to get with each of these pieces, right? I can loosely draw them from imagination. Now, I'm not saying it has to be, like, realistically drawn from imagination. Imagination is pretty difficult. What I'm saying is... like, I can do like a simple cartoon, right? I can do a simple cartoon, and it looks pretty smooth, it looks pretty solid of whatever the piece is, right? The other thing is I can draw with reference. With reference, I can draw it fast, mostly. Mostly. Because, yeah, there's always gonna be some things you're not experienced with, and it's not gonna be as quickly. But with reference, I can draw it fast. That's simple. Because, again, the slowest part of the artistic process for me personally is the initial mannequin and getting the anatomy correct. That is the longest part for me. And the part I hate the most. Because the reason why I hate it the most is because, well, you have a blank canvas, right? For the most part. You have a blank canvas, and you gotta get sorted where everything is. And I am terrible at getting a proper thing going on a blank canvas. Now, once I get pieces in place, and the anatomy starts looking decent to me, then everything gets pretty easy and falls into place. It's this initial mannequining phase that I'm trying to get quicker and quicker at, so I can get past it. Because it's holding me back. It's seriously holding me back. But let's see here. So we can loosely draw from imagination. Doesn't have to be anatomically accurate exactly. It just has to look okay. And with reference, I can draw it really fast. What else? Now, okay, first off, let's define what we mean by the reference. Like, how much of a reference are we talking here? Reference being... It's being... And there's gonna be two different things to this, right? This is how I use references. Because I don't want to copy, like, directly copy a reference, right? In terms of, like, I'm literally just looking at it and copying its contour, right? This is me personally. If you use references, because keep in mind, so the thing with references is, and a lot of people make this mistake, especially new people. I myself made this mistake until I started doing some research. References are 100% okay, even if it's like a person, like you're drawing an actual person and such, because for those who don't know, a lot of people know this, but for those who don't, so Disney, old school Disney, we're talking like since Snow White days and onward. I think the last, I don't know, well, maybe not the last, but I know Snow White, Alice in Wonderland, several other movies of those eras. They, if those don't know, they literally had actors that would act out scenes while they did the art. So like Alice in Wonderland or Snow White, they were acted out in front of the artist as they worked on it. So they would have a reference of what to do. So if even those keep in mind, especially with Snow White, so back in those days, and this is the 30s for those who don't know, because I actually read a book called How to Survive as an Animator or something, I'm not sure. Animator Survival Guide or something like that, I'm not sure. But, and it goes through animation, but also talks about the history of animation. And people in those days, like, you had to be, like, classically trained in art. Like, you started getting really fucking good at art, and those are the people they were looking for back in those days. Like, they're typical, you had to be really good at basically, you had to almost master art. Like, I would be nowhere near it. you'd have to almost master art before they would even consider you a decent animator. We're not just talking Disney either, we're talking like Looney Tunes and stuff too. And you would get the old farts who start complaining about the new people coming in who didn't learn classically, and they're not as their art's not as good, according to them. Which still brought us classics, but I digress. Anyways, so let's look there. So reference being, so here's my references. So usually one, I have a pose. This is like a realistic person, like an actual photo, or I will use 3D programs sometimes. Like, there's one program, I forget the name, that I used to use a lot. And it's not a poser program, it's actually a game, but the game happens to have a poser in it. And I used to use that for poses. Like, and it had a lot of models too, so I would find a model that was as close as possible to what I wanted to draw, and I'll put it in certain poses to figure out where I want, and then there we go. Now, I say close as possible because it's not literally that exact model I'm drawing, it's just giving me a good idea. For example, if I don't know, if a character's got a big badonkadonk, I'm going to find a model that has a big badonkadonk, if you know what I mean. But no, pose, reference, and then we have the character reference. Now, character reference is pretty straightforward. It's the easiest one not to completely copy, in the bad sense of like you're literally just looking over and copying over and over, which isn't bad. Like there's a lot of people who I have a few examples. I drew an image of Judgment from Helltaker and Moxie from Hell of a Boss. Even Blitz, like Blitzo, I did a thing where I'm just one for one. I'm not tracing it, but I have like a image on my left, and I'll look over and just trying to copy the image to like understand the image, and that's actually fine. Even tracing is fine sometimes for practice purposes. I'll show an example here in a minute. I'll do an example of what you can actually do if you're trying to learn with tracing. It's just obviously don't trace and then like say, hey guys, look at this amazing thing I did. Like, no, you trace. Don't, no. But it is good for studying either anatomy, and also it's good for studying styles. Like, for example, I wouldn't mind learning Helltaker style or Hellball style and stuff. Well, tracing would be good there because I can break down the style and be like, okay, well, what makes this style, and really break it down and learn to copy it. Which with style, I don't really have a style of my own, or at least I don't. Some people might disagree, but I don't really have a style of my own. But what I like to do is I'd like to take different styles and like take bits and pieces I like and put it together to where it seems like its own thing. Which is good because everybody takes references from each other. There's never been at least I'm aware of, there have never been artists who hasn't. But no, anyways, but references though, I have a pose reference that's just for pose. It does not look like the thing that I have. The only time I will have, like, say a pose that, I don't know, say for example, I don't fucking know, I don't know, say I'm doing like a fan art of something, and it just so happens that that media has the exact pose I'm looking for, right? I would only really use that pose if, like, there's like a maybe, I can't really describe, because I never actually had to do it before, but I can imagine, I'm just imagining a situation where I would possibly do it, where, maybe there's like a special, like a certain character that's like some weird thing anatomically, and I don't understand, I don't know, I'm not going to describe it because I've never really done it before, but it's a weird case that I can imagine happening. But regardless though, pose reference, so I can, especially if it's a pose I don't understand. Also, a big thing with pose reference is it helps me understand the 3D space better, because my problem is if I don't have a pose reference, everything will start looking flat, and I got to avoid that. And the character reference. So again, going back to the A sprite image I showed you all earlier. So this guy here, this was a commission from Abe for his OC. But really this OC is literally, I think it's Gabumon or something, some Digimon. It's literally just Gabumon with a skin palette change, or a palette change. So I had to look up Gabumon, and just see what's on him. He wasn't in his pose. It was just like a regular snapshot from the TV show of him just standing. But I didn't even need a reference for the pose. Actually, I didn't need a reference. Actually, funny thing, I needed more reference for the heart than the actual character, which is funny. But because I was having a weird hard time with the shape for some reason. I don't know why, because it's not a difficult shape. But like, you know, obviously, like, you know, and actually there's one thing I got wrong. I did this wrong. He actually has another pair of arms. But I got lazy. I'm like, no, fuck it. I'm not going to bother with those arms. Here you go. Here's your art piece. And he said, no, I love it. It's great. And he still uses it as his profile pic to this. Actually, I don't know if he still does. It was a while ago. I don't know if he still does use it as his profile picture. Let me see. I don't think he does. But for a while, though, for a long time, he did use it as his profile picture. No, he still uses it as his background picture. That's what, yeah, he uses it as his background picture. He still uses it. He loves it to death. And I like it. Like, honestly, this is probably one of my best pieces, period. Only like maybe one or two that kind of compete it, but like the detail on the face is honestly the best part. The feet, I was able to get shaped out properly, so they actually look like, well, you know, feet. Little claw things coming out look fine. Squishing the heart a little bit looks fine. I could probably detail that a little more, but whatever. Horns came out pretty good. Like, this is definitely like my top. This is definitely like my top 3 pieces, right? But the reason why this piece was so good is because, like, for the most part, I was actually getting mannequinning down pretty quickly, and it was coming pretty naturally. And I wish I could do that. I don't know why. I don't know why out of nowhere it started coming out just fine, but it just, I guess, decides to. But like, worst case scenario I could see here is if, like, maybe this part of the leg might be a little thin. That's about it. Aside from that, it'd just be that and the fact that he's missing 2 arms. But it's not really, it's not noticeable unless you know the character. And if you don't know the character, you're not going to notice it because it's not relevant. All right, moving on. Let's move on out of here. Well, okay, back to this. So let's look at the ribs, because we've been talking way too much about that. And references. Hold on, with reference I could draw it fast. Mostly, oh, and I need one more goal would be mannequin process comes naturally. I'm not sitting there thinking for like a million years what like a basic shape is going to be, right? Now granted, this is probably a study of basic shapes that I need to do. Actually, I'm going to put that in here, actually. Basic shapes. It's like I kind of skip the basics. It's not that I can't draw shapes, it's just, you know, it's always good to improve your basics. Because honestly, that probably will speed up the mannequinning process, because that's what it is, really. It's just basic shapes put together, right? Alright, so these here. Alright, let's start up here. Neck. Honestly, it's not that necks are hard. It's just I'm terrible with the proportions of the neck to the head. I don't really think about them much, and their position on the torso. It's not the neck itself, it is the proportions between the head and the torso, as well as perspective, how much of the neck you actually see. That's why I'm giving it a 3. If I wasn't worried about that, and it was just drawing the neck itself, it'd be a 1. I would not care, because 2 lines, there you go, you drew a neck, nobody cares, move on. You know, and of course I know if you're being realistic, like, you know, you have the Adam's apple and the esophagus and such like that, and that kind of shows, but that's about it. Okay. Alright, pecs and booba. So, funny thing with my art, I've done way more booba than I have pecs. So I'm actually less experienced with man pecs than I am booba. So, despite me being a man myself. So, however, I will say, without a doubt, unless, you can maybe argue unless you include muscle, maybe. You know, like a really muscular guy. But for the most part, booba are obviously much more complex than pecs, because you're basically drawing water balloons, unless they're like really flat-chested or something. You're drawing water balloons when you do booba, right? Working and lurking. I can't see your name, it's so dark. It's so dark. Hello, Casey. Enjoy your lurking then. Hopefully work is going fine. Oh, I forgot something. Gambino, get your butt over here. I forgot to give you your bops. Come here. I'll give you all the loves and bops. You get all the bops. Lovely Gam Gam. Alright, anyways. So, however, I do have a... I've obviously been drawing a lot of Booba. But I haven't really been studying Booba like crazy. So I definitely need more study. more study. But so I put it at like a 3. Just because now keep in mind, if I have not been drawing Booba as long as I have, this would 100% be a 4 because it's obviously way more complex than Pex. Pex, I'm keeping it at a 3 just because I have not done them at all. Well, wait, hold on. Have I ever drawn a shirtless guy? I don't think I've ever drawn a shirtless guy. The fuck? No, I've never drawn a shirtless guy. Huh. We gotta fix that. I'll draw myself. But anyways. Okay, so yeah, so this stays 3. I don't expect it to be hard. It's mostly gonna be torso itself, although obviously on men, certain muscle groups are gonna show more on the upper torso, because, you know, Booba is in the way obstructing it. So certain muscle groups are gonna show more. Well, especially if you just consider men generally just more muscular in general. But I'll put it at a 3 though, because, you know, no studying it. There's probably more things that surprise me. Yeah. And Booba is going to be lower than I would expect it to be because I do have some experience drawing it, and I have studied a little bit. So, but still a lot to learn. Still a lot to learn. I think the big thing to learn with Booba is like different ways you can draw them, different shapes, different sizes. You all know what the deal is, so we'll move on with that. The back... okay, so these two backs I'm going to put the same, so I'm just going to delete this one, and we're going to consider these the same. Because it's kind of... it's actually a torso from a different perspective, right? However, unlike... now, while the back definitely has certain definitions that are very important, I don't think it has as much curve... like, we're mainly talking ladies. I don't think it has as much, like... I mean, well, guys too, but, you know, with the ladies, you really want to emphasize the curves. Aside from booty, the back doesn't really have that much curves. Generally with the back, you're just dealing with, like, maybe the spine shows a little bit, or maybe you have, like, a little groove where the spine is, depending on how they're positioned. And you have the shoulder blades, which aren't that difficult. It just depends on how their arms are. And then you have maybe love handles, depending on the perspective, because sometimes they can show from the back. And then you got the butt, and the butt's its own thing. Whereas if you're at the front, well, first off, you got Booba if it's a lady, or if it's a guy, pecs, because that's still muscle detail with the pecs, right? And you got certain curves with the belly for both male and female, and so on, you know. Oh, and then like the thighs and shit like that, but how... I do think the front will be more difficult than the back. So, and torso here will be the front. We're just putting this here universally as the front. So for the back, oh, hold up. Right, but for the back, difficulty would I give it? Okay, it's hard because, okay, you know what, here, how about this? We'll solve it like this. I'm just gonna delete the back here. And we're gonna put the back and the torso, like, you know, the front, which I'm just putting as torso. We'll just put them together, right? I'll make it a lot simpler. So in that case, if we're just talking just the torso, we're not talking head or legs and all that stuff. We're just talking torso. Difficulty. Edit mode. So it's hard to tell because it depends. God, no, God, fucking stop editing the fucking thing. Let me edit the goddamn thing. Okay. Okay. Okay, I don't know what it is, right? As for me personally, as long as I have the proportion between the ribs and the pelvis correct, or at least mostly correct, I don't find adding the curves to the torso too difficult, especially if you have a reference. And plus, like, after studying them for a while, a lot of the curves become very intuitive. I'll still put a 5. Again, it's a whole body part. It's gonna have a lot of things. At the lowest, I'd be okay if it was a 4, but we're just gonna put a 5 in terms of difficulty because you're still learning all of this. But I will say it is easier than, for me personally, at least for now, it is easier than being consistent with the head. Even if overall the torso could be more difficult than the head. Overall, so I start considering like limbs and stuff like that, and perspective, like say like a low angle or really high angle or whatever. I do think the head overall is more difficult, but that's just me. I could be wrong, but I do think the head's more difficult than the torso once you get used to drawing both. Right? Let's see. That's just me though. I know a lot of people disagree. I just don't study heads that much, and I really should. But anyways, but moving on over here. So shoulders. I don't really have, like, yes, there's a lot for me to study, but I don't really have a problem with shoulders themselves. It's mainly the nuance, right? Like the collarbone, which we're about to get to in a second, but like the collarbone, maybe you have to make sure it's positioned right. Shoulder blades, if it's from the back, make sure they're either sticking out or going in. But shoulders themselves, there's probably some things I'm accurate with, but I don't have too much difficulty with them. I'll put a 2, you know, because I'm pretty sure there's some things I have to keep note of, but I'll put it a 2. Collarbone, I'm going to put a 3 just because I don't pay attention to the collarbone. It's not drawing the collarbone I'm referring to here. I'm referring to how important the collarbone actually is. Because I can't remember what it was, but I was listening to a person talk about it, where there's so many parts of the body that you can determine because of the collarbone. Like, for example, your booba. I'm talking men and women here. Your chest. The center that comes up to like the ends, like the inner ends of your collarbone, or at least the parts you would see that you would actually see. And then the outer parts of your collarbone go to your shoulder. And also, you actually see your collarbone. If a person's not like overweight, you actually see their collarbone. Well, actually, I think even if they are overweight, you might see it, but you actually see their collarbone, right? And that's actually an anatomical detail to keep note of. And the other thing with the collarbone being so... I wouldn't say straight, but I'll just say straight, even though it's not really what I want to describe it as. But with the collarbone being so straight and it being on the surface of the skin and being visible, it can determine a lot of shape on the shoulders, which can really matter. So also it follows the shoulder blade, I believe. Yeah, it follows the shoulder blade for the most part, so it's useful to know. All right, wings. If it's bird wings, I give it a 5 immediately. If it's bird wings. If it's like bat wings or dragon wings, I'll give it like... Depends on the detail, but I'll give it like a 3. So we'll go in the middle and say 4. But if it's bird wings, that's a 5. Like, fuck bird wings. Seriously. Like, good bird wings, like, especially detailed ones, are such a... It's because of all the feathers, but they're such a fucking pain. You have to, like, break them down and really go digging into anatomy to get that. So hold on, I'll show you here in a minute. So, why bird wings are a pain in the ass. Now, sure, you can be stylistic with them and kind of skip a lot of the hard process of bird wings, but if you're not doing that, you have a pain train coming. So, let me see here, let me get this set up. I want to show why I fucking hate bird wings. They look nice, but I fucking hate doing them. Like, I despise doing bird wings. So, okay, so here we go. Let me just get this here. Alright, so we have bat wings, right? Or, well, maybe not exactly bat wings, but roughly like bat, dragon, stuff like that. Like normal wings like that. It's just whoosh. If we're not like really simple versions, mind you. I'm not getting complex with it, but whoosh. Whoosh. Whoosh, we have a bat wing. Congratulations, you have a bat wing, or like a good shape you can use for it. And you can kind of flex around with the shape for it. You can... Well, if it's actually like bats, because bats actually have... These are actually their fingers. Like, you think like a human hand, except your fingers are out like this, right? Like, this is where the palm is. Something like... This isn't exactly, but... Yeah, I'm being very loose about it, but roughly like, you know, there's the little fingers, right? And you got your bat wing. Birds. I don't even want to draw an example of them. So if you're being accurate with birds, mostly accurate, you have multiple parts to the wing. And not only do you have to know certain parts of the wing and study them, you have to know the feather groupings. Where are the large feathers? Where are the small feathers? So again, if you're being accurate and you don't just half-ass it and say, all right, here's all the big feathers and small feathers. Boop, 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 I'm done. I drew a bird wing. Because I was drawing from one of my overlays. I was trying to do accurate bird wings. And it fucking sucked. I hated it. And I said, fuck it. I'm just going to make them even. I'm going to do like an Egyptian style wing where it's just like boom, boom, and then straight. And I ain't got to worry about all the nonsense. And I just boop, 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 boop. There we go. I have an Egyptian style wing. Fuck bird wings. I hate bird wings, and they're probably one of the hardest, aside from hands. Yeah. Belly. Okay. I mean, it's just a belly. There's not much you get to do besides belly button. However, they're not difficult, but there are some curves with the belly with shading that really bring out the shape, especially for the ladies. It's not difficult, but it is a certain shade you have to keep in mind. So I'm going to give it a 2 for that reason. If it wasn't for that shade, it'd be a 1, because it's just a fucking belly. We're not really drawing it that much unless they're like overweight or something. You have to do the fat. But, well, okay, if they are fat, or if it's an overweight individual, even then I'd say worst case, well, I'll say worst case like a high 3. If like it's an overweight, like obese individual, like severely obese or something, I would give it like a high 3, because there are some curves you have to pay attention to with that. Although I should do this more often, but if you want to learn like, you know, where the fat's stored and the curves of even like ladies and stuff, because ladies when they get overweight or they gain weight, their curves start coming out more, in good and bad ways. You know, like. I'll tell you right now, there's some ladies who actually look good, a little chunky. Like, not like big, but like, you know, they got a little meat on their bones, right? But eventually, I'm talking my personal taste right now, I'm not judging you ladies. But eventually it does cross a threshold where, it's like there's a graph of it, of like, ratio of, weight to attraction in that regard. And some ladies look fine chubby, and then others kind of, maybe not. I will say, though, the ones that do look good chubby, which only certain ones pull it off, they do look good. But anyways, it just, you know, when you are like that, though, you gotta be careful. But they do look good, though. I like it. Anyways, moving on. But belly, it's just a shading thing. 3 if it's like an overweight belly. 2 if it's just like a thin or regular average belly. For men and women. Because even men, the overweight thing's the same in that regard. It's just for women, the curves are a lot easier to notice. At least for me as a guy. That's just me. Let's see here. So, booty. The booty. The buttocks. The booty patootie. The junk in the trunk. The badonkadonk. The waka waka. I do need some study. Because, oddly enough, I have not drawn that many booties. I'm kind of surprised. I'm actually very surprised. I think it's because I'm mainly drawing booba. I'd say for the most part, it's not as hard as booba to draw. But there are some things to keep in mind. I think it's because booty, no matter what perspective it's at, for the... Well, no, I don't want to say that. Anyways, because I have to study it, I'm going to give it a 3. Because I don't really do it as much. But if I did study it, this would easily be down to a 2. Like, it's not easy, but it, like, you know, once you get, like, some idea of where the shape is, it's not that hard. I would say the most difficult with this is... It's not when you're looking straight at the back, right? It's... actually looking from the front... But you just barely, you know, an individual's barely turned enough where you can see booty, right? Like, you're not seeing the whole thing, you're just seeing like a little lump, like the shape is starting to come out, right? That's where it's hard, in my opinion. Because you gotta recognize that. But overall, though, I say booty's a lot easier. Alright, we got the meat. The pee-pee. The slong. I have not drawn slongs at all, aside from goofy little first grader fucking... I don't draw a pee-pee, you know. No experience, so because of that, in terms of drawing them. But obviously I do have one, so that makes it a little easier. I'll give it a 4 for that reason. We'll give it a 4, because I just haven't bothered drawing them at all, so I have absolutely no experience to actually make them accurate. So anyways. JJ. The VJJ. Which I'm not going to say potentially for, I don't know if, no, I don't think TOS would give a shit, but I'm just not going to say it anyway. A lot easier than PP. A lot easier. Unless you're getting, like, heavily detailed, but I'm not interested in that. Pretty simple. Like, really, it's not even the part itself, it's more so how the body curves into it. It's not really the part itself. So for that reason, I'm just giving it a 2. Even if I haven't, like, drawn it accurately that much, I'm not too worried about it. Because, again, it's mainly how the body curves into it. It's not the part itself that's has any difficulty whatsoever. So it gets a 2. Again, for a lot of these 2s are for studying purposes, because I know I have not mastered them, and that's why they're getting a 2. If I actually study them, there would be a 1 easily. So, not hard. In my opinion, not hard. As long as you get the like the pelvis correct and the curves of the belly into it correct, it's easy. It's not hard. Love handles. Now, very similar to the belly, if I'm using my terminology correct. Very similar to the belly, where so the belly's not hard, as we were saying. But it has certain shading, like certain shading that kind of brings it out that either are easy to forget or easy to not do very well, for me personally. However, except with love handles, you have shading and you have a little bit of contour usually. On almost most perspectives, you have some kind of contour. Very few perspectives, you have no contour of the love handles at all. So... while I will say they're harder than the belly, especially because they get forgotten pretty easily, at least by me, they get forgotten pretty easily. I forget them a lot on my spicy pieces. Well, that or I remember them, because I do pixel art, there's no way to really bring them out. Because I just don't have enough room, or it'll screw up the silhouette of the sprite. I wouldn't give them a 3 difficulty, but they are harder than belly. Right? They are harder than belly. So, again, these two they're not big things. I'm gonna put this up here. They're not big things. It's just that they're like little details that really bring out the body that are either forgotten or just not quite done correctly, and it doesn't quite come out right. So, hips. I mean, if you get the upper legs correct, you basically did, and the pelvis correct, you've done hips. They're kind of like a combination of 2 parts. They're not really their own thing. Unless we're talking, like, similar to love handles, right? They're very similar, or they same thing. I don't fucking know. My anatomy's off. But I'm just gonna delete this and just put them the same way. They're just the same. However, I am gonna give it a 3-star. Because, again, it is a combination of things in order to bring these out. So I am going to give a 3-star for that reason. So, you know. Okay, so now we got the furry stuff. The tail. Oh, one more thing. I forgot. It's called digigrade, I believe it is. Note to self for legs. We got to put in digigrade. I just reminded. Wherever the fuck it is. Digigrade. What the fuck's it called? I know Ferryman said it. What did he say? Yeah, digigrade, okay. We'll get to that in a minute. Tail. Tails aren't that hard. Like, the most incorrect things I've seen, be it myself, well, mainly others, I don't really do it much myself, but that I'm aware of. But the thing with tails is, like, people always have, like, place them in weird spots, right? Like, okay, here, I'll give an example here. I keep forgetting I'm in fucking A-Sprite on stream. God damn it. Alright, well, I was just doing all that stuff for nothing, so it doesn't matter, not a big deal. Alright, so we got booty, right? Just booty. Alright. Okay, so and there's a tail. I don't fucking know. There we go. And we got a tail. The correct place to place it, for the most part, is like, you know, right above like the butt crack, right? Like right here, right? That's where you place it. I mean, unless you're trying to be cute and do something fancy, that's generally where you place it. However, I see people, and I know they're not doing it for weird, spicy reasons. It's just inaccurate. I'll see art where people put it, and not for spicy reasons, just generally inaccurate. They will put it, and yes, I know it's not realistic to begin with, it's just anatomically it makes no sense when they do this, even from a fantasy perspective. Let me just get this erased. They will put it right in the butt, like where your butthole is. So apparently your tail is just a big squiggly piece of shit, right? Or like they'll put it like I've seen this before. So don't do that. It's weird. Well, hold on. I mean, you could argue maybe up here because you know your bunghole isn't there, but even to me at least, it personally makes more sense for it to be like right above, right there. I don't get why it would be any lower than that personally, but I already know that. So tails, this might actually be, let me close out A-Sprite. This might actually be the only one I give a 1. Like, let me think. Are there any tails I think I would have a problem with? No, not really. Like, if you're good with ribbons and stuff, you could do a tail. Aside from, unless you're going like hyper detail or something, right? With something crazy. So yeah, it gets a 1. That's actually the first one I'll confidently say it's a 1 because it's really not hard. Like tails are not hard. They're pretty easy. Probably the easiest one out of everything on this list, aside from the ones that kind of draw themselves. Okay, so now we have the arms. Okay, first off, arms overall, I'm just going to say right now, just because of hands and the fact that the arm itself is a lot more difficult in like perspective or what pose it's taking, depending on the pose and such. In my opinion, arms are probably up there with the most difficult body type or body part. I would say that's getting a 5 immediately. Like even just hands alone, like hands alone are infamously difficult. Now the arms themselves aren't too bad. I know with a lot of ladies you can get away with not dealing too. I mean you can, especially if you're in hyper detail, but you don't have to detail that much. Like if we're talking like cartoonish styles or anime, like maybe like a step below anime, right? Like typical anime, like a step below that. You don't really have to detail much on the arms of ladies, and then guys, you know, you put the muscles, but you might have to get a little more intricate with muscles a little bit with the guys. Again, it depends on your style. Ladies have muscles too, especially if you get like the heroic ones, but we're just talking average here. Like you don't really have to go too crazy. Realistically, on the ladies, obviously there would be muscle and you would see it. It doesn't matter guy or woman, you'll see it. But just obviously on the men, it's usually more pronounced. Usually, there are exceptions. But again, because of the hands themselves, 100%. Because keep in mind, in drawing, it's not just. Let's say you even draw the arm, everything, hand and everything, completely anatomically accurate. You still have to like say a person is grabbing a book, right? There's a character grabbing a book. You have to make sure that that arm, compared to the granted, you could just draw the arm first and draw the object, but bear with me here. You have to make sure that arm is actually going to reach that object. Like like physically, it's going to be able to reach and actually do its job, right? And the hand have proper gesture and da 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 da. Not too difficult because you could just draw the hand first and then draw the object. But still, it's extra factors that you have to consider that you don't really consider too much. Well, you do, but not to the same degree that you do with the arm that literally manipulates the environment. Because if a guy has no arms, right, they just have legs, you're mostly just moving their legs, maybe their mouth, like their head with their mouth and stuff. That might actually be a little, that could be complicated, but you're not dealing with the arms. You don't have arms. It's like an entire like fifth or fourth of a person you don't have to draw. But, you know. Anyways, elbows, I mean, I don't know, if you're being accurate, granted, if I'm doing like my pixel art stuff, I don't have to worry about it. But if I was drawing it realistically, I'd have to say elbows are more difficult than knees, not because of the elbow itself, like the pointy part, when you, like, say you're showing off muscles and stuff and your little pointy elbow comes out. Not because of that, because when you have your arm out flat and you look at like the flat part of the top of your arm and then the curve where your elbow is when it's flat, I'd say those are small details that can easily be missed. I do know advice from an artist is there's a certain muscle in your forearm that goes from your thumb and it like has a weird way it wraps around your arm, and that's a really good muscle to keep track of from all perspectives for your arm, because it's all, and unless it's right behind the arm, you're always going to see it no matter what perspective, except for directly behind it. So there are tricks, but I would say with the way the forearm, the elbow is when you're flat, I would probably give the difficulty to the arms over the legs and knees. That's just me though. Alright, and look, let's just get this out of the way. We already know this. Like, everybody agree with it. Even experienced artists can agree with this. You know, I'm not gonna give it a 5-star, right? It's not even a 5-star. Just fucking 10 stars, because it's fucking hands. Probably the most difficult part of if you're being detailed, we're not just doing like little cartoonish mittens or even circle hands. Most difficult part of the entire body. If you have to do a lot of detail with it and accuracy. Most difficult part of the body, end of the story. It just gets a 10. Like it's just it's like there's S+ tier, and then there's what the fuck is this tier? Hello Deep, I'm making a little thing where I'm planning out some art practice here in the near future. How are we? How are we, Deep? I don't see me staying on for too much longer, so I'm getting tired, but we'll see. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's get through here. Legs. Honestly, aside from feet, which can have their own... They're not as hard as hands, but they do have their own difficulty, but... I would say legs are significantly easier than arms. Just because arms have hands. And sometimes the position of the elbow switches it up a little bit. Now, legs do have a lot more curves, obviously. They also bind at the hip. And there is a little bit of play, because there's like, I'm not sure what that is, like the muscle behind your knee. Like when you have your leg straight out, it tightens. And then when you loosen your legs, they sink into your body when your leg pushes them in. So there's definitely a lot of like little muscles you really have to pay attention to for good legs, right? Especially muscular legs. I think if legs get more difficult than arms, not counting hands, those will always be the most difficult. It's when they are muscular legs, not curvy, muscular. That's when legs actually get difficult. And yes, Deep, I am good. I'm doing some brainstorming. I hope you're doing well. Hope it's been a while. I'm gonna give because of feet, and feet do have their own difficulties. I'm gonna give it a 4. Okay, so we kind of got an idea here. Honestly, me doing these ratings didn't really help much at all, to be honest. So look at my goals. I can loosely draw that object from imagination. So I can draw from imagination, and that's fine. And we're talking traditional drawing. We're not talking pixel art or digital. Although it would translate to digital, though. Not counting software problems. And if I have reference of it, I could draw it pretty quickly. Relatively, like, I'm not saying I don't struggle a little bit, but I could draw it relatively quickly if I have a reference for whatever that thing is. And the mannequining process comes naturally. Like, as soon as I see a piece, I immediately know, okay, here's the basic shapes I can draw to get this to be accurate, you know? You know what? I got an idea. Instead of scheduling, like, instead of being like, okay, I'm gonna do this within like 90 days. Why not just do it for, okay, every day I do it until I get to this point here, right? Like, if, say I want to get better at hands, for example. I'm gonna keep drawing hands until I can loosely draw them very accurately from imagination. Or loosely accurately from imagination. And with reference, I could draw them pretty fast. Like, and pretty decently. And the mannequining process comes naturally. Like, I know exactly what to do to draw hands, and I can, oh, fuck. Big thing, I can manipulate the mannequin. Oh, god, fuck it. These goddamn hiccups never go away. But anyways, this here is the holy grail. If you can manipulate the mannequin in different ways, like, it comes naturally, and you can manipulate it. Why? So why is this the holy? In my opinion, this is the holy grail of like character creation. In my opinion, why? Because if you get to the point where you're very comfortable making the mannequin, right, you can easily make it, right, whatever style you may have, doesn't matter. You can take this mannequin. Not only can you make almost any character, you can. Let me give an example here, right? Let me give an example. Let me pull up a little art. Let's give an example. Okay, so let's say I am the master. I can manipulate the mannequin, all right? Like, easily, like, no problem. I can fart and it'll be manipulated, right? So that's the difference between having a character that has a giant head, little body, and still looks really, really good. Again, I'm exaggerating. This isn't exactly the case, but we'll see. And a little head and a big body, and still looking really, really good, by whatever metric that may be. Because a big problem, and why I say it's a holy grail, is because a lot of artists have a certain problem, and it is called the same face syndrome. Now, there's nothing wrong with it if you are this kind of artist, that's fine. But what same face syndrome is where I have a certain head, and no matter what it is, all my characters literally look like the exact same character, or rather, at least the same character with the same head, but they just have like little minor features done. Now, this is fine for cartoons, obviously. It's not as inspiring, but it's fine for cartoons if you need it. But if you're doing like really detailed art, or spicy art for that matter, and all your characters have the same head, it's going to get very boring because they're all going to look the same. To me, at least to me. I'm not saying there's plenty of really big artists that have same face syndrome. I mean, hell, Disney has same face syndrome, actually. Classic Disney. For those who don't know, if you look at classic Disney shows, a lot of, or movies, a lot of human characters tend to have very similar faces in terms of shape. They like you could swap a wig out on them and they all look the same, kind of thing. Even like the older, well, not entirely the older and younger, but to a certain degree, the older and younger characters as well. You know, like you got this bald guy with nose and mouth, bald guy with emo hair. It's the same guy. They just, hey, he has emo hair, right? But you're gonna pass him off as a different guy, even though they're literally the same. Or I would say within I'd say the Sonic, well, yeah, I'd say within the Sonic fandom, they have same face syndrome. Again, same face syndrome is not bad. Like, it's fine. Like, it works for those mediums. Like, again, Disney, Sonic. I can't think of those right off the top of my head, but I know there's others. It's fine. If you do this, it's fine. It's no problem. Just me personally, I want to vary up the things. Because there are other artists, I'm not going to name the names, but there are certain artists I've seen where they don't have same face syndrome, and it's great. I love their work because they don't have same face syndrome, and all their characters look unique and good, like spicy good, right? I'm not just talking like, okay, they look nice, they're cute. I'm talking like, you could use them for anything. You use them for cute things, action, spicy things, cool things, and despite how different it's sort of a similar like design in terms of like you can tell, like you see this character and you know who this character belongs to, like what artist made it, but the characters themselves don't all have the exact same designs. They don't have the exact same eye shapes, or they don't have the exact same pupils, shapes, and such, or whatever the case may be. Or body types, especially. That's the other thing is body types. Body types are a huge thing to study, is body types. Because if you want to vary up your characters, before you settle on a style, getting like a single average skinny-looking person, study other body types. Get good with other body types and not just the one you're using, because it'll go a long way. And that is the holy grail. If I can get to this, I've completed my goal. I can get to this and I can make the mannequin process come naturally. I've completed my goal. That is the goal of this. So what I'm going to do is starting tomorrow. Do I want to start with ears? We'll put that. Oh, why can't I move that? Go down. We'll do lower. Let's do eye. We'll do something pretty. We'll do eyes first. Right. Hair. We'll do hair a little later. Maybe I'll put it as like the fun. We have one thing that's fun at first and one thing that's fun later. So we'll do that. Snoot, nose. We'll put mouth up above snoot. Horns we'll bring down here. We'll put it out with like right above ears. Or no, we'll put it above. There, I guess. Alright. Honestly, I'm fucking tired. Now, hopefully I can get up early, because mind you, I did have a not as good sleep schedule today. And hopefully tomorrow I can get up and start getting to work on this. So, I don't know how much I'll be practicing, we'll see. But I'm gonna hop off for now. I am tired as fuck. Toodles mortals, thanks for visiting.